My name is Dean Harvey. I'm a photographer and pixel artist based in New Zealand. Photography was kind of my introduction into art, or like some form of art at least, and it's just like a really inspiring country to live in, to photograph, and I think that kind of helps translate into any other art that I make, that the inspiration kind of comes across from. I think it's probably a big part of why I love it here. It's just a beautiful place to live. So this here is my office. It's actually the garage of our house. That's where I learned to do all my art, and then after a while I was able to kind of save up some of my NFTs sales, and I bought myself an iPad, and now I make a lot of my pixel art on iPad with the Procreate app, which was like $20. So I have a fairly simple setup. It's nothing like majorly complicated. How have I made this piece of art and now there's like $1,200 or $1,100 in my crypto wallet? I was like so confused. I was working as like a freelance photographer and a video editor for this YouTuber in Christchurch, and it sounds kind of bad, but I was just being underpaid and I was quite unhappy with what I was doing. Around the same time as when I started hearing about NFTs, so I was like in a few group chats with mates like that were just to share each other's art and stuff, and some of them were like making money off of their art, like absurd amounts of money. I was like how is this a thing? And I just didn't know what Ethereum was. I didn't know what like NFTs were. I didn't know what the blockchain was. I didn't know what any of it was at all. And so I had to actually spend like probably 4 months doing research. I dove in head first. I think I spent like 2 weeks making my first pixel art NFT, and then like I picked up a bit of interest and I sold it like straight away, and I was like, man, that was when the light like flicked on and I was like, I gotta figure out how to do this full time. And so I was basically dedicated to try and go full-time NFTs Web3 as fast as I could. I think it was the same week that we got handed the keys to this place. We'd never had a mortgage before. I was basically saying to my wife, I'm quitting my job, we're getting a mortgage. I have no idea when I'm getting paid, but just give me a year to do it. And yeah, it worked. I just worked really hard. Lots of long hours, late into the night, lots of hard work. Yeah. I was like absolutely determined to make Web3 and NFTs in my life, so here we are. Technology and everything that is happening right now is so fast paced. It's nice to like do something that's slow, and it's nice to do something that like is therapeutic and slows you down. And so that's why people like to shoot film, they like to develop film. And the colors are awesome. You can't beat the colors of film, in my opinion. But yeah, I've been shooting film like pretty exclusively for probably like 3 years now. I spent so much time like taking photos of things that fascinate me, like light hitting an object in a certain way or whatever. And I think when I started doing pixel art, like I had this background in art that I hadn't really thought about it, that like taking photos of stuff helped me to paint things certain ways, because I had a good understanding already from photography of like how light would hit something and like what's the interesting composition or whatever. So I definitely think it's a connection between like different arts and how they help and stuff. The kind of pixel art that I do specifically is like very much so influenced by like game consoles from like the early 90s. Because I'm an early 90s kid, so I grew up on like Game Boy Color and that kind of stuff, and so like a lot of my art's influenced from that sort of era. I think for me, like as a photographer, I've always wanted to go to Japan, and like I'm really fascinated by like small town Japan, and like I'd love to one day go over and be able to document like just small neighborhoods and stuff. But I don't know why, but like I think it's just because like of 8-bit games that come out of Japan, like pixel art in Japan have always been closely tied together. And so I have some assistance from May, who is another amazing pixel artist in the NFT space. He helps me with like translating my pieces to make sure they're accurate. My big breakthrough didn't come until 6 months after I went full-time. Backseats, who is now my co-founder of Noun Cats, he reached out to me, and so we tweeted it out, like, hey, we're gonna do some like noun-inspired cats, like maybe like 5 or 10 or 20 of them. And we thought we wouldn't get that much interest, but then the tweet went viral, and we had like 300 comments, and we'll just open up a Discord in like 24 hours, and we were just like, we've got 2,000 people screaming when mint, and we have like not even made the art yet. So yeah, it was pretty crazy. Like that for me, that was like a real wild time. Nouns is like CCO, and so I think that's really interesting because they're basically taking the traditional world and just like flipping it on its head and saying that like, you can do whatever you want with this. Like, we don't care, it's yours. You can remix it, you can resell it. I think for anyone that's coming from like a traditional background, like that's so foreign, and like that's obviously how we were able to do Noun Cats, is that, you know, there's no rights to the original project. I think because NFTs are like so closely tied to like that gamification of like buying and selling and trading things, and like a lot of people that are in NFTs are sort of in the same like age group where we all came up, like, you know, we grew up with Pokemon cards and like, you know, things that we would trade and as kids. Because even when I make new pieces of pixel art and I throw it on Twitter, people are like, oh man, this reminds me of like a game I used to play when I was like 6 on my DOS computer. They enjoy reliving those moments of nostalgia, but then there's like the notoriety of owning the NFT and then being able to say that you like are the current owner of it. Obviously, because we're a smaller country and we have a smaller population, the network of artists in New Zealand is very small. It's like a very, very tight community. And because of that, we're able to like support each other. Everyone is just like genuine and actually wants to see each other succeed. There's this whole wave of art, like people who are just like so anti-NFTs, and I don't think they fully understand the technology, and like all they hear is about like how it's damaging the environment. I don't think they've dived deep enough into NFTs to fully understand how they work. So they just slap a sticker on it and say that's a no-go. I think there's a lot of people that think NFTs are a scam as well. And like obviously there have been lots of scams, and so people are like by all means allowed to think that. But I think they only ever see the scams, and then they don't actually see all the positivity and don't want to embrace the fact that NFTs are actually okay and they can change your life. There definitely is fears involved, like, you know, obviously the market right now is not fantastic, and then you don't know like when your next sale is going to be, that type of thing. But for me, I think like getting to make art full-time, no price on that. But yeah, definitely like our life, like, you know, my whole family's life has been dramatically changed. Like we're a single income family, and yeah, I support the whole family just off my artwork, which like if NFTs went around, I don't know I would be able to do off pixel art. But because of pixel art and Web3 NFTs, I can do that
as much as I want, and it's amazing. So I think I just want to continue to make cool art and have fun, like keep taking photos, keep making pixel art and enjoying the outside world. And then when I'm not outside, I'm in my cave making pixel art. Yeah, that's where you'll find me.